Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it is time for my client Nick's vlog. And for those of you who've been following his series, you already know the story. For those of you who haven't, Nick is a client I've worked with a few months. He came to me as someone who'd watched my channel a long time, had struggled to really build any strength base when he had been lifting, and wanted help with it. And he has lost around 150 pounds. He was 400 pounds a few years ago. I think approximately, 40-ish at that time. He realized he needed to turn his life around. Got into training a bit, got into running, started cleaning up his diet, and, went from 400 pounds down to where he is now. And did it all on his own, right? Following good information, reading things, trying to learn what he could. He got himself to that point, which is very impressive. And especially when you consider how people struggle to lose weight. You have a guy like him who lost well over 150 pounds just with diet, exercise, and learning what he could from the people who seemed credible to him. And it worked. And if you guys notice, I think he's definitely starting to show that he's losing more weight even since he's been in these vlogs. And ideally, I would personally like to see Nick down to about 200 pounds, and then if he wants to get bigger, we can lean bulk slowly up from there. But, I think that's a good number for him at his height, because he is over 6 foot. Get him down to 200 pounds where he's basically at half of the weight he used to be. And again, getting stronger as we go. So, what's his routine look like at the moment? It's very simple. It's a 4-day upper lower. Now, I do want to see him pause a little more on this benching, something he and I will talk about. He's getting a little bit way too much touch and go, but easily fixable, and I have him start pausing more. But he bench presses. He does one-arm dumbbell rows, does the overhead press, and tricep extensions. That's what his upper body workouts look like, and we didn't even start with that much. We took time building up to 4 movements. And that's something that people will even ask me, how many movements do we need? You shouldn't need more than about 4 exercises in a workout. And I've come to accept this, right? And it's something I generally agree with for the most part. And you'll notice a lot of my clients follow that trend, some exceptions. And it's because they demand, they want more volume in exercises. I don't always think they need it. But 4 exercises is plenty. And notice we still have room for arm work in there. And everything's being worked. Everything's being worked. His lower body, it's the same way we do 4 exercises. And I wanted people to note, this is a person, even technically, primary goal is to continue to lose weight, wants to be healthy, fit, strong. What do we build our training around? The basic barbell lifts, squat, bench, and deadlift. Squat, bench, and deadlift, and then supplemental work. And I've made countless videos, and I'll make more on explaining why we should use a squat, bench, and deadlift for that. And it's specifically because of their popularity. That's the biggest reason, and there's reasons why that matters. It's reasons why that matters. The top of the list being there's so much coaching and biomechanics information available on them. We know how to get the most out of those movements because they are the classic lifts in the most competitive strength sport, or the largest strength sport. Because let's be fair, more people compete in powerlifting than any other strength sport. Probably the others combined. So that alone is a good reason. It's the opposite. It's the popularity that makes them more useful in that regard, because of the amount of data that's been collected. So when people hate on the big 3, for any goal, they're just trying to be contrarians. They are literally trying to be contrarians for the sake of being a contrarian. Those 3 exercises will put tons of muscle on you, tons of strength on you. When you do those things, it makes weight loss easier. So we build around those. And he does 8 exercises a week. 3 of them are the big 3. We have 5 either assistance or supplemental lifts. Lower body days, we squat, we deadlift, we do goblet squats, and we do reverse hypers. Again, balance there. 2 squatting type movements, and then he does 2 hip hinge type movements. The squatting for this week, he's getting high on the squats, and again, I've already messaged him about it. We've talked about it, and I'm gonna keep his weight constant. We're gonna stop his linear progression on the squat until I can see him getting a little deeper, because these are high, and it's hard. You can't see it as well from this camera angle, but I can tell as a coach when I look at that bit of thigh angle, I can see still through there. He's about 3 inches above parallel now. So we've got to work on that. We've got to work on opening those hips up, pushing the hips back. All right, cutting that knee slide down just a little bit, because that's making him miss depth. He's got to get those hips open. So, and in that case, he may need a wider stance. His toes are already out. He may need to take his stance in a hair. He may need to take it out a hair, but he's got to learn to drive those knees out and push his hips back on the way down, instead of sitting straight down into it, which is what he's now doing as it gets heavier. All right, when we sit straight down into it, again, our depth gets compromised. Depth gets compromised, depending upon your structure. All right, then he does deadlifts. The deadlifts are the one exercise we do less reps with. We do less than 10 on this, and we only do 1 set, because it's all that's necessary. And his deadlift, we go up every session. I'm increasing his deadlift linearly while doing only that. And again, his deadlift form is cleaned up a bit. We had to work on it some. It's not 100% perfect with the low back there, but it's greatly improved. So he just has to keep practicing it. But the upside of that, because he has access to reverse hypers and we build his low back, I'm not overly worried, about a low back injury, because we've got plenty of core muscle, plenty of strength. So a little bit of backgrounding is not the end of the world there. All right, then he does goblet squats, and the goblet squats will help him learn to get deeper. I want to watch his form here on this, because again, he's struggling with depth on the back squat a little bit. But look at that, he gets deep on the goblet squat. So maybe we need to use that same stance, whatever stance it is that he's using. And then after goblet squats, of course, he finishes up with reverse hypers, which you guys will see up next. You guys know why we like reverse hypers. I discuss it a lot. Again, puts the low back in traction. Great for recovery. It's great for recovery. It's a hip hinge that, rather than having axial loading like most do, it puts us in traction. Again, therefore helping with overall recovery. All right, it's a phenomenal device. And I think everyone should have access to one personally. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.